Okay, hey guys, how's it going? My name's Lockie, this is Coastwatch Football, and today we are live for the Watchalong of Sydney FC Western United, a big All A-Leagues matchup in the Australia Cup quarterfinals. This is the final Australia Cup quarterfinals. We've got Melbourne City, Melbourne Knights, and just yesterday, Brisbane Roar. They're the other three teams who have qualified for these semi-finals. And this one is a tricky one to pick, to be honest. These are two teams who have looked pretty good in the Cup so far. Sydney FC, first of all, defeated Mariners in the round of 32 by, of course, Mariners. Which feels like ages ago. We did a vlog for that match and everything. That was 10-9 on penalties. They defeated Apia Leichhardt 2-0 in the round of 16 just a couple of weeks ago at the same stadium where they're playing today at Leichhardt Oval in Sydney. And then Western United have looked very, very good with wins over Edgeworth Eagles as well as Gold Coast Knights. They have yet another away day. And today it is against Sydney FC. I see Boston, Ollie, Valhoon, Marcus in the chat. Good to see you guys here. And Mark is coming in with his early prediction. Feel free to throw your predictions in the chat right now. Marcus is coming in with a Sydney 2-0 win. Mac and Lolly to grab the goals. Ollie's here. Ollie, very happy about the Brisbane Roar win last night. Says, I still can't believe we pulled that off against Western City Wanderers. It was a very, very entertaining quarterfinal we saw yesterday. That was sort of the big one. We said that might be the one to keep an eye on, and it certainly lived up to expectations. 4-2 Brisbane Roar. And there's a lot of hype around Brisbane Roar now. They've picked up a couple decent wins prior to this in the Cup. And this was the big result for me, the big test, I guess you should say, for Brisbane Roar to see whether they really are the real deal. The signs had been there, new leadership on and off the park. But overall, it's interestingly enough, I mean, a good point about Brisbane Roar is like, when you look at the squad, the personnel, there actually hasn't been that many changes. The real major change has been like Florian Berenguer, who came off the bench yesterday. But you look at most of that starting lineup for Brisbane Roar yesterday, and it's pretty much just the same team. I mean, Joey Coletti's in there as well. They've got young striker Thomas Waddingham, who's now starting. But aside from that, it's basically the same Brisbane squad that they've been running for the last couple of years. But Ross Aloisi, the new head coach, has got them playing some good football. And they defeated a good Wanderers side, who they themselves have been scoring goals for fun this Cup tournament so far. And their Cup the Cup run ends in the quarterfinals. And Brisbane will go through the semi-finals for the second consecutive year. Will Sydney FC be joining them? Sydney FC usually do pretty well in the Cup. They got knocked out in the quarterfinals last year. The year prior to that, they made it to the semi-finals where they got knocked out against the Coast Mariners. So they're hoping to bounce back and jump into the semi-finals. Western United, it's worth mentioning, this is the furthest they've made it into the Cup, Western United. This is, I think, their third year in the Australia Cup, Western United, and or fourth. They've never made it past the quarterfinals. I don't think they've even made it to a quarterfinal. This is probably their first ever quarterfinal. So, big day for Western United as well. Ronan, good to see you here. Opinions on Melbourne sneaking through. Not complaining. Melbourne City. Yes, Melbourne City. Very, very close. Very, very close against Metro Stars. I was watching that game, and it was an entertaining watch. And Sammy says here as well, speaking about the Metro Stars City match as well, says we deserve to lose against to the Metro Stars. Look, it wasn't the City's best performance, that's for sure. But in my opinion, it was just a matter of sort of experience and fitness that carried City across the line in the end. You could see many Metro Stars players were like pulling up with cramp in the final 10-15 minutes of that match. And it was disappointing because they did so well. They played so bravely against, the A-League premiers in Melbourne City, who have a star-studded squad. And City pulled through in the end, of course, as they always do with the class that they do have. Big test for City coming up as well. They start the Asian Champions League campaign next week. We're very excited for that one as well. Marcus also says A-League is so hard to predict thanks to the Australia Cup. Look, it's making it tricky, isn't it? I mean, I wouldn't necessarily. The Cup is never a good indicator of how the A-League pans out, and last year was a perfect indicator of that. I mean, like, it doesn't get any the disparity doesn't get any bigger. You know what I mean? Last year we had MacArthur FC pick up the Australia Cup. They won the tournament under Dwight York as head coach. A few months later, Dwight York leaves the club. They finished bottom of the table. They picked up the wooden spoon. So, success in the Australia Cup does not equal success in the A-Leagues. That is for sure. So, Yeah, I wouldn't base any predictions. I mean, it's knockout football, and that's why I like the Australia Cup. It's something different. Cup football, it's exciting. It's really up for anyone. It's always tricky to predict. And we're just minutes away from getting this one kick off. Of course, you can watch on 10 Play if you want to watch for those of y'all in Australia. I'm not sure if this is available to watch overseas. I'm assuming it's somewhere. It's probably someone. Ronan, good question. Is the semi-final draw happening after this match? Yes. And we will be staying live for that. Yes. Which is very exciting. We will be staying live for the semi-final draw. Very, very intrigued to see what matchups we get. Could we get a Melbourne derby in there with the Melbourne Knights and Melbourne City meeting? That would be intriguing. We've got Sydney FC, Sydney FC, Western United, one of those two sides. Brisbane Roar, the other team, in there as well. So, yes, we have one NPL team in Melbourne Knights in the semi-finals, that is for sure, after they picked up a dramatic late victory over Victorian rivals Heidelberg United. That was a great game too. We had the two games on Thursday evening. And Heidelberg were up 2-1, and in the final moments, in injury time, Melbourne Knights picked up 2 goals out of nowhere and picked up a dramatic win. A very, very dramatic win indeed. Rostokoglu era has begun. haven't heard that one before. Rostokoglu. Yes. It's Ross Aloisi. He's the second coming of Ange Postecoglou. It's epic seeing. Look, I'm totally behind it, but like so many Brisbane Roar fans from what I've seen online are just so hyped about their team at the moment, which is great and rightly so. I mean, they're playing really, really good football. There's good signs there. Hopefully, they back it up for the A-Leagues campaign. That's the important thing, of course, as well. Oh my goodness, Frenzied Rabbit though, how you doing, man? Good to see you here. How crazy was last night's result? It was a very, very crazy result indeed. And look, I was watching it, and after Wanderers scored first, I was like, okay, this might be where the Brisbane Roar Cup run ends. But no, I was wrong. Brisbane Roar, very, very good, very dangerous in attack too. I mean, whenever they got forward, they could have scored more. Brisbane Roar, I thought as well. They really should have grabbed a fifth in the final 15-10 minutes of the game. They had chances on the counter-attack. Very, very good. But it was that final goal for Brisbane. It was the fourth goal. The Henry Hall goal was fantastic, man. Just some of that passing play. And Florent Berenguer was key to that. So I think he's going to settle in well, Florent Berenguer, to that team. And it does appear, I think when he came off the bench, he was playing in that number 10 position, just behind the striker, which is a nice little position for someone like Florent Berenguer to play. I think that is his best position, really suits his attributes. And then you got some, players like Coletti and Jay O'Shea playing behind him. There's a good balance now at Brisbane Roar too. When you look at the squad, when you look at the lineup, which maybe wasn't there in previous seasons. So, Sydney FC West United set to kick off in a matter of minutes. Very warm, very warm. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. I'm broadcasting from the Central Coast of New South Wales. It is currently 28 degrees. I'll tell you what, it feels hotter than that. And I imagine in Sydney, it's a pretty similar temperature. Let's ask Siri what the temperature is in Leichhardt. What's the weather like in Leichhardt right now?
It's currently clear and 32 degrees in Leichhardt.
There we go. A warm one in Leichhardt, Sydney, New South Wales. 32 degrees. So you'd imagine we get some drinks breaks halfway through the halves. Frenzied Rabbit says, I could actually see Raw going all the way with the Australia Cup. After last night, no team will want to play us. So weird to be able to say that. Yeah, man. I mean, it's wonderful for Brisbane. And they're backing... I mean, last year they had a decent cup run. Unfortunately stumbled in the semis. But they seem even more... they're playing a lot better, like just compared to last year, right? So, yeah, I think there's totally a chance for Brisbane Roar. There's totally a chance. Look, it'd be a big test against, if they come up against either of these sides, Sydney FC or Western United or a Melbourne City. A Melbourne City, that's like the ultimate test, right? Yeah. Marcus says 30 plus degrees in Sydney. Frenzy Rabbit says 27 degrees here in Brizzy. Lovely day. Beautiful. I mean, it's great to have the warm weather here and the sun shining across Australia. Indeed. Yes, we will be doing Griddle at halftime. I haven't played it today. I haven't played it today. So, yeah, we'll definitely do some Griddle at halftime. I haven't even had a look at it or anything. Griddle, our A-League player guessing game, which always tests the knowledge. Decent turnout at Leichhardt Oval by the looks of things on the broadcast. Obviously, a very hot day, and that I've never actually been there, Leichhardt Oval, despite there being many games across the A-Leagues and the Cup being played there over the years. I've never actually been there, but it's got that far side, the hill there, just bathed in sunlight. I'm surprised there's even people sitting there, dude. They would be cooking right now in 32-degree heat in direct sunlight. But the Sydney FC fans, very, very committed fan base. Teams are in the tunnel. Ready for this one. Western United. Yet another away day. They're away in Newcastle to Edgeworth Eagles for the round of 32. They went up to Queensland to take on Gold Coast Knights. And back in New South Wales to take on Sydney FC. The first ever A-League opposition they're meeting in the Cup this year. And look at that. I mean, worth mentioning as well, of course, as we're seeing some high fives exchange between the two teams in the tunnel. Some former players. I mean, James Donachie, Thomas Heward-Bell, a couple of former Sydney FC players in this Western United starting 11. Which does as well contain, we should mention, Ollie Lavelle, who is a fan-turned-player at Western United from their academy, 18-year-old striker, scored last time around against Gold Coast Knights. But the big news for Western United as well is the inclusion of Daniel Pena, who's on the bench today. He's not starting, he's on the bench. But surely we will see the Brazilian today as the teams come out onto the pitch. Keely Adamson as well, another young player we should mention. He's starting once again, 3 consecutive cup matches for Adamson, who has looked very, very good at right back. Ryan Grant is on the bench for the Sky Blues. Corey Holman as well, another young Sydney FC player who's getting some good minutes in this Sky Blues side, maybe set for a prominent role in this upcoming A-League season. Patrick Wood does start up top. Fabio Gomez, new signing, not included in the squad. Same can be said for Jordan Courtney Perkins, who was at Brisbane Roar last time around. Amit asks, what can we stream the game on? Appreciate the watch along. No worries, man. Thanks for jumping in. You can watch the game on 10 Play. So viewers in Australia can watch on 10 Play for free, which is great. On the app, on the website. The website and app I know can be sometimes difficult to navigate. Strong Western United side. Ricky Danzaki's in there. Still no sign of Alexander Privic, who seems to take an extended leave during off-season. This has happened like the last couple of years in a row now, it seems. And it's always up in the air whether he'll come back, it seems. There's rumours that he might not be coming back. So we'll keep an eye on that, what happens with Alexander Privic. Noah Botic is on the bench today as well, striker for West United after he recently returned from Turkmenistan on international duty with the Oileaux, who recently qualified for next year's AFC Under-23 Asian Cup. All right. Jake Goodwood-Reich, another young player playing today at centre back for Sydney FC. Looks like he well and truly is going to be one of those centre backs, central defensive options for Sydney FC this season, which was an area of concern. And we were live the other night on deadline day after it was interesting that Sydney FC failed to sign another defender. I mean, we'll see if they can secure someone, maybe a free agent. But they might not need to. I mean, they managed to bring in Jordan Courtney Perkins at the last minute on a 3-year deal, which was a really, really nice pickup. He can slot in at centre-back. But basically, the real sort of senior centre-back that they have, I guess you could call Jordan Courtney Perkins one of them now, but is Jack Rodwell. But Aaron Gerd, Jake Goodwood-Reich, and now Jordan Courtney Perkins, they seem to be the options there for Sydney FC, which is probably one of the weakest central centre-back, I guess, batch of centre-back options that they've had in some time. But I'm not doubting the quality of any of those guys. Some young players, some young options there, that's for sure. And both teams giving some minutes to young players today, which is good to see. Kickoff. Seconds away here. We're going to get the clock here ticking away. Of course, the slight delay here on the YouTube stream, so please just acknowledge that. But bathed in sunlight like our Oval is today, as we get ourselves underway, Sydney FC Western United. Who's going through to the semi-final? Joining the three other teams who have already qualified. The clock is underway. We have kickoff. Leichhardt Oval. Let's do this. Live watch along. Relatively similar formations for both teams. Sort of the 4-4-2, if you like, 4-2-3-1. We'll keep an eye if there's been any sort of tactical changes for both squads. Yes, Valhood. Kowal's goal. Fantastic, wasn't it? What a strike. So good to see Garang score his first goal over there in the Netherlands. Josh Laval, he's an early chance here for Western. Roos trying to get it over the top. It was a heavy challenge on Ollie Laval. Sorry, did I say Josh Laval before? Ollie Laval. But no foul. Or perhaps advantage played. Frenzied says, I predict Sydney to win, but it'll be a good game. It should indeed, and that is my prediction too. That's I called that in my prediction video earlier in the week. Quarterfinals prediction. It's back in Sydney FC to get a win here at home. Here's a delivery, though, for Western once again. Flag is up on Danzaki, who's playing off that left wing. Big season for Ricky Danzaki. He tore it up at Brisbane Roar a few years ago. Returned to Brisbane, didn't quite continue that fantastic form. Was over in Scotland at Motherwell, I'm pretty sure, right? Riku Danzaki finds himself back at Australia. This time at Western United. Here's a little chase here. It's Donachie, who's trying to hold off Patrick Wood. Patrick Wood, man, I feel for him, right? I feel for Patrick Wood. He's a striker who's been in the Sydney FC first team for a number of years now. And he's that's a nice ball over the top, but should be dealt with. Yes. I feel for Patrick Wood. He's you feel like he's just biding his time to get his chance as that starting striker for Sydney FC. But yet again, the Sky Blues have brought in another senior first team striker. Which I guess shouldn't be too surprising. I mean, that's just the way, that's just what they do, Sydney FC. They do like bringing in those big name players, especially as a striker and in the striking position, whether that is, in recent years, Bobo, Lafondra, now Fabio Gomez, Brazilian. So look, for Patrick Wood, if he wants to be a starting striker, it's pretty clear that he's going to have to go to another club. And I'd imagine there'd be no shortage of A-League clubs who would love to pick up someone like Patrick Wood. Sammy says, I got a ticket to the Champions League game on Wednesday. I'm pretty excited. Very, very exciting for City, isn't it? It's the first time they are having home Champions League games. We do know Melbourne City were in the Champions League last year. Failed to make it out of the group stage just. Hoping for a better time around this time. But yes, Sammy, that should be great, man. Hopefully a decent turnout as well for the first home Champions League game for Melbourne City, which is next Wednesday night. Central Coast Mariners and MacArthur SC getting their AFC Cup campaigns underway next week as well, on Wednesday and then Thursday night respectively. Thomas Ewart-Bell in goals for Western United today. Very good goalkeeper. He was on the bench for Sydney FC for many years. Used to play for Central Coast Mariners many years ago now. Made his A-League debut with Central Coast Mariners. And when he did fill in for Andrew Redmayne here and there for the Sky Blues, he performed really, really well. And he does appear to be now the first choice keeper at Sydney FC with another new signing in Matt Sutton, goalkeeper. He's on the bench. ACL on 10 on Wednesday. Actually, good question. Let's double check that. Can someone check for me? I'm pretty sure it's on Paramount Plus. It might be on 10 play though. Both show good to see you here as well. I'm back in what did I say on my predictions video? I think I said 3-2. I'm back. I'm gonna stick with that. I think with the heat, might be some tired legs out there. Might be some tired defenders, which might mean, oh my gosh, what a chance in the rebound is. A huge chance for Sydney. Blazed wide. Well, Sydney FC have just hit the crossbar. I just said there might be goals today, and Luke Bratton having a pop from long range hits the post. Knows how to score from long range. We've seen it before many times from Luke Bratton in the A-League. And goodness me, that wasn't far away. That rattled the woodwork. Yeah, I'm back. I'm sticking with 3-2 Sydney FC. Let's do that. I reckon 3-2 Sydney FC. So glad you guys can join me for this live watch-along. It's our first live watch-along in a few weeks. Our last one was Melbourne City, Wellington Phoenix in the round of 16 of the Australia Cup. This is our first quarter-final watch-along. And I'm sure we'll have a couple semi-final watch-alongs. And the A-League, the Australia Cup semi-finals set to take place next week. With the Australia Cup final on, what was the date again? It was October something. It is October 7. The Australia Cup final set to take place on October 7. Hit the post indeed, Bosho. Here comes the Sky Blues down the left. Nice move. Cutback isn't ideal. Trying to win it back in the box. Nicely done. Lolly goes down. Holman feeds it wide. Lolly. Good save. Hewitt Bell. Corner. Nice. Nice from Sydney. Christopher says, should have been 1-0. Indeed, it should have. Good to see you here, Chris. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're having a good weekend. Bosho also says, I think Sydney will win 4-3. Love it. Hopefully we do get plenty of goals today as Joe Lolly delivers a corner headed away at the near post. Sydney FC back in possession. Delivery's not bad here. Garuccio. Dangerous. Sky Blues still on the attack. Risdon heavy touch and heavy challenge. Clean according to the referee, and Western can counter here. That's Danzaki away on the right. This game already opening up early on here. Riku Danzaki with the footwork. That's a brilliant challenge. Who was that? Was that Girdwood Reich? Jake Girdwood Reich. Well, we're talking earlier on about Sydney FC's defensive options. Girdwood Reich, midfielder turned defender, had to time that challenge perfectly, and he did. Very nice indeed. Very, very nice. Keep an eye on Robbie Mack and Joe Lolly this season. I feel like they're really going to turn it on this season. I think just after settling in Australia for a year, getting to know the A-Leagues a bit, they showed really good glimpses throughout the season, but they weren't necessarily consistent, week in, week out. But the Sydney FC front line of Mac, Lolly, and now through the middle, a fast, tall striker in Fabio Gomez. I'm a little worried about this Sydney FC attack. It's looking very strong. It's interesting, though, with Sydney FC, it's their attack which looks very formidable, but it's in defence where there maybe could be some holes. But, hey, we'll see. We'll see. Yes, Bosho, we will be doing Griddle today. Good to see you here as well, Nama. Yes, at halftime we'll be doing our Griddle here live on stream, which will be fun. Haven't had a look at it today. Is it a tricky one? Have you guys done it? Let me know. Let me know how you went and Griddle today. 8.5 minutes into this one. Western United 0, Sydney FC 0. Great start to this game, though. Couple chances for both sides. Sydney FC coming close, hitting the post from long range. Luke Bratton. Western United win it in midfield. Angus Thurgate, another new player for Western United. Great signing for them. Playing in the middle of the park. I reckon it's the sort of environment that I could see Thurgate really flourishing into. It was a little hard, says Bosho. I'm keen to check it out. I've been struggling recently with Griddle, actually. Frenzied Rabbit says, high chance we're going to see a goal in the first half. The way this is going, yeah, for sure. This is a big, big game. It's sort of... Oh, that's a nice ball over the top. Ollie Laval. Why do I keep saying Josh? Ollie Laval's in behind here for Western. He goes back. Risdon in support. Nice from Risdon. Cross/shot. Should be dealt with. Maybe not. 10 minutes in. Western United's turn to attack. Angus Thurgate, as I was saying a moment ago, I feel like West United is the kind of club he could really flourish in. A club who are looking to bounce back after missing out in finals last year, the champions from 2022. Goodwood Reich. Solid in defence so far in the opening stages, Jake Goodwood Reich. Good to see. Lockie Wales, nicely done inside. Thurgate's cross isn't great. Cleared away. Bosho got 6 on the griddle. Marcus says, I love the Jordan Courtney Perkins signing. We're going to come back to that comment there, Marcus, because your Sydney FC are currently attacking down the right wing. Joe Lolly. Oh, that's a nice pass. It's a lovely pass for Caceres, who scores and puts Sydney FC in front after just 11 minutes. Oh, we said the goal was coming. Frenzied Rabbit says the goal was coming. It's only taken 11 minutes. It's Anthony Caceres. Mr. Consistent for Sydney FC. He's always there. Joe Lolly. We were talking about him before, man. Joe Lolly, a player who could really step it up this season. And, dude, the pass. And I'll tell you what, the pass and the finish were both perfect. I mean, Joe Lolly, the little reverse, the inside to find the space there for Caceres. And I'll tell you what, there was work to do for Anthony Caceres there. He had to get the finish right. And that was perfect past his former teammate and Thomas Hewitt-Bell. I love it. Sydney goal. That was good, says Ollie. A lovely goal indeed, wasn't it? Get in, says Sid FC. Tie. Joe Lolly with the assist. Caceres with the goal. Sky Blues have 1 foot in the Australia Cup semi-finals. Of course, still a long, long time to go. Let's jump back into some of these comments, though. Marcus earlier on was talking about the signing of Jordan Courtney Perkins. Says he is so versatile indeed. Very versatile indeed. Can play left back, centre back as well. Great signing. Very, very good signing. Had a good season at Brisbane Roar last year. What else are we saying here? Bosho says, now the Mariners are out of the Cup, I think Sydney will win the Australia Cup. I'll tell you what, not a lot of people are talking about Sydney FC. A lot of the focus was on Wanderers, but they got knocked out. A lot of the focus has been on Brisbane, has been on Melbourne City, the likely candidates to potentially take out the tournament. Sydney FC have been chugging away nicely, and the win here against a good Western United team. And I'll tell you what, they're absolutely a chance to take out the whole thing. What's your thoughts on the Western Sydney Wanderers' new signing? Nama asked a bit earlier. Fantastic. Hendricks, another midfielder at West Sydney Wanderers. And a good signing as well. I think they needed to sign maybe just one more midfielder. That looked like the area where they maybe needed to strengthen a little bit. And it looks like a very good signing. There's some good experience in the Dutch league. PSV. Lovely signing. 28 years old, I think he is too, eh? Sydney FC. That's Joel King with the delivery. Adamson getting in a really advanced position. Lolly again with the delivery. Shaky clearance from Risdon. Corner for Sydney. Important that Western United stay in this game early on here. Don't want to go a couple goals down away from home on a hot day in Sydney. Corner delivery is not bad. Rodwell's header. There's appeals for handball. Of course, as we know, no VAR in the Australia Cup. Lolly still in the attack. Delivery. Oh, it's beautiful. It's going to fall to Bratton. He's going to lay it off. Mack. Robbie Mack. Western United just trying to deal with this, but that should be a goal kick and is. So, it's a really nice start from Sydney FC. I'm liking it, man. I'm really, really liking it. Jimi Hendrix, indeed. Frenzy Rabbit also says a bit earlier, West Sydney Wanderers scored first last night, and look how that went. 11 minutes in, but we should have a great 80 to go. Good point, Frenzied Rabbit. Good point. This could be a roller coaster of a match. Ooh, Bosho with a good question. Who's your favourite Mariners player who currently plays? Oh, man, I'm a big Joshy Nisbet fan. I'm probably going to go Josh Nisbet. I love that he's still at the club too. He hasn't been pinched away from us, which as a Mariners fan, I'm very happy about. So great to have someone like Josh Nisbet still at the club. Yes, indeed, Chuck Mead. A bunch of Aussies on the score sheet last night. Kowal, we were talking about that Kowal goal earlier. What a strike it was. Garen Kowal. That's right, Mo Toure. He scored a penalty. Lewis Miller. I mean, that was fantastic, wasn't it? I mean, Lewis Miller scoring the first ever goal for new Hibs manager Nick Montgomery, of course. Montgomery and Lewis Miller. Both at Central Coast Mariners just a couple of years ago, now teaming up at Hibs. And Caleb Watts, good to see him score as well for Exeter City overnight. Absolutely. Sam's here as well. Good to see Sam in the chat. Says, had an insane day yesterday, which ended with Liverpool getting up. Yes, we did see Liverpool winning in the Premier League last night, 3-1. Dramatic game as well with Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham grabbing that dramatic 2-1 win over Sheffield United. Crazy. Bojo says, my favourite Mariners player, Nisbet or Jacob Farrell. We love the Faz. We love the Faz, man. Low-key surprised that he didn't secure an overseas move as well. Good to see Sporty O'Brien in here as well. Sporty, hope you're having a good weekend, mate. That's right. And there you go, Frenzy just mentioned the Ange result. Orange Sunday flashbacks. Nama says, are you excited for Angel Torres? Yes, excited. It's going to be interesting. I mean, who was obviously recruited with the previous coaching staff in place. But look, Mariners in recent years have had a really good track record when it comes to the visa players. And Angel Torres has played at a decent level overseas in Portugal. So very excited. Very, very excited to see how he goes. Central Coast Mariners back in competitive football action next week. Away in the AFC Cup on Wednesday. So, 18 minutes in here. Sydney FC 1, Western United 0. Great start to this game so far. Both teams looking pretty good. Sydney FC just on top, creating some of the more better chances of the game so far. But the green and black are absolutely in this game. Worth pointing out as well, I mean, there's some good options off the bench for both sides, but I'm keeping an eye on Daniel Pena. Daniel Pena, who could be set to make his Western United debut today. He is on the bench for Western United. Surely we'll see him today. What a player. So good to have him back in the A-Leagues. Sky Blues just chilling on the ball at the moment. Relaxed in possession. It certainly is, you could say, a 4-2-3-1 for Sydney FC that they have been playing. We saw last season was one of the big stories early on last year, about this time last year actually, was Sydney FC's shift in formation to more of a 4-3-3. The current formation you could definitely call a 4-2-3-1 with Anthony Caceres sort of playing as that lone attacking midfielder with a bit of a free role to float around. I've got Max Burgess who can play that sort of role as well. Options there for Sydney FC. Chuckmate says, I like our new signings. Our signings of Gomez and Jordan Courtney Perkins. Great signings. Really, really good. Final week signings. Sporty O'Brien says, can't wait for the A-League season. Absolutely. A-Leaguers here as well says, when are you expecting the Mariners manager to be announced, as the AFC Cup is this week? It's a great question, man. Hopefully we get it soon, man. Hopefully it happens before that cup match. Because, look, it's not an ideal situation, and especially considering that, Mariners were hoping to have a successful AFC Cup campaign. I mean, the fact that we haven't got a manager sorted out is a bit concerning, but look, we'll see how we go. Good to see Oz Hub Football in here as well. Hope you're going well, mate. Chuck made earlier on says, with Goodwin leaving Adelaide, there's no way they're making finals, in my opinion. That's been the popular opinion from what I've seen, about Craig Goodwin and his departure from Adelaide United, and did a video about that a few days ago. There was some drama around that departure. Craig Goodwin having a little bit of a swipe at the club upon departure, saying that he was really, really disappointed with the way that the move was handled, which is a real shame. Because what a player he was for the Reds. And who knows, he might be back. He might come back once again. He might make another return. Craig Goodwin. West United looking to make a move down this left-hand side. Can they find a first-half equaliser here? Riston's pass is offline and cleared away. Okay, Nama says, I got a good career mode idea. An Adelaide United career mode. First season you focus on youth, and second season you go all out. Well, they're known for their fantastic young players, aren't they, Adelaide United? Sam says, Varda's a good manager and Adelaide have great young players. They do need to get a replacement for Goodwin and a few other experienced players, though. Yes, absolutely they need to. I mean, it's so hard to replace someone like Craig Goodwin too. I mean, he was the best player in the A-League. Absolutely. I mean, he picked up the Johnny Warren medal, rightly so. Such a tricky player to replace. We'd heard there was talk that they are potentially still trying to bring someone in. Not just to replace Craig Goodwin, but Louis Dorigo, who's departed as well. I mean, they lost Louis Dorigo and one day. They lost a couple of midfielders, Adelaide. So I totally understand the sentiment that people reckon Adelaide are going to finish outside the top six. I don't think they're going to completely crash and burn. I mean, I've seen some people predicting them to finish last. I think that's a little harsh, considering that there's still a lot of quality players there and a good young squad. Here's West United on the attack. Lockie Wales feeding Thurgate. Thurgate loves making those little runs into the box. Throw in. What do I think the score of the Mariners game will be next week? Well, we're going to do a video real soon, actually, this week about previewing the Asian competitions, in which we'll do a bit of focus on some of the opponents that the A-League teams are facing. Hey, look, I would love to see Mariners get a win. I would take a draw just to start off the campaign. I think a draw would be okay away from home. This is the first time a lot of these players are playing in Asia. And without a coach at the moment, it's going to be tricky to expect any massive result. So, look, I think just to start off, if we can get a coach in this week, snag a draw overseas, I'd be happy with that. I would be happy with that. I very much would. James Troisi could go back to Adelaide. He is an Adelaide boy, isn't he? He is indeed. And yes, Sydney FC, we will definitely be doing an updated ladder prediction. Sydney FC, good opportunity for them. Joe Lolly drags his shot wide. That was a nice little move there. Patrick Wood working in tandem with his winger. Just fed it off to him. You'd expect Joe Lolly to hit the target from now. It's a great chance. Ooh. Frenzy Drop says, as a heads up for Griddle, which got me today, it appears it doesn't consider signings made this recent transfer window, so watch out for it. Yes, okay. Indeed. I was wondering whether maybe they would have updated that with the new transfer window closing. But yes, I have to make sure not to get caught on that. As we have a drinks break here at Leichhardt Oval. We checked earlier. It was like 32 degrees in Sydney at the moment. So scorching heat. What do we make of the game so far? Sydney FC 1, Western United 0. Good start from the Sky Blues, who have had a couple good chances. Western United trying to create chances of their own, but haven't quite had a clear shot at Andrew Redmayne's goal. Aliga asks, any truth to the Tale to Central Coast Mariners rumours? I know as much as you guys. Would I like Ufuk Tale at the club? Yes, I think he's actually a fantastic coach. He's done a very good job at Wellington Phoenix over the last few years. We've seen some pretty reputable people on Twitter that Tale is potentially linked to the Mariners job. So, look, if it happens, I'm going to be happy with it. Is that right, Aliga? Interesting what Simon Hill said regarding Privic leaving Western United. I'm not listening to the commentary. Did he say that? There you go. That was actually one of our topics of conversation pre-game. Earlier on, we were talking about Alexander Privic, and I mentioned how it was interesting that he's still not in the lineup, and we know that he does return to Europe and make a late return to the side. But there you go. That's interesting. So potentially Alexander Privic not continuing on for this season. There you go. Christopher says Sydney could easily be up by more than one. They've definitely had the chances to. Hitting the post. Joe Lolly just a moment ago dragged his shot wide as well. Hey, Ben Khan, would love Ben Khan at Mariners as well. Is a very, very, very popular one. Warren Moon's been thrown around there. Not my first choice, that's for sure. I don't think Warren Moon's a bad coach. I think he's all right. Seems like a good bloke, that's for sure. Robbie Mack, good run. Robin Mack still dragged wide. Still on for Sydney. Second goal is huge here. Dude, honestly, I think if Sydney hit a second, it's going to be really tricky for Western to come back. Just considering the conditions. They need to hold on here, Western. Ball into the feet of Mack. Caceres. Sky Blues just pinning Western United back at the moment, not letting them get out of their own half. Good switch of play. Lolly wins a corner. Kenny Lowe. I don't know about Kenny Lowe. I mean, he did a decent job at Perth Glory a number of years ago. I'd be surprised if Kenny Lowe got the job. Hey, look, I don't know if there's any validity to the Warren Moon rumor. It could literally just be a rumor. It could just be a rumor. I haven't seen anyone, there's the reputable journalists, on social media that sometimes say things, and I haven't seen any of them mention Warren Moon. I haven't seen any reputable source mention Warren Moon. I think it's just been a name that's been thrown out there by almost hit him from the corner. I think it's just a name that's been thrown out there by the fans. Hey, look, if Warren Moon did get appointed, I wouldn't be totally disappointed. I'd be curious to see how he goes. I think Mariners fans are quietly sort of like, not necessarily expecting big things for this season, which is the case. I mean, with a team like Mariners, we're not the kind of team that can set up for a dynasty, like a Sydney FC or a Brisbane Roar or a Melbourne Victory. That's a very nice pass from Lolly to find Mack. Mack feeding King on the overlap. Nice play, Sydney. Here's Mack trying to control it. Western should be able to get this clear. Making it a bit tricky for themselves. Lolly inside. Great chance. It's 2-1. Oh, it's dreadful defending from Western. 2-1. 2-0. Oh my gosh. 2-0. Did I say 2-1? Dreadful defending from Western United. Second goal for Sydney FC. That was really, really poor. And it's Patrick Wood who's put it away from close range. What are the green and black doing there? Dreadful. Dreadful defending from Western. Nice play initially. King on the overlap. Heward Bell made the save. Robbie Mack. And then, was it Pasquale there who... Oh my gosh, that's really, really dreadful. And then there's space for Patrick Wood to finish in the box. That's some amateur level defending there from Western United. Sebastian Pasquale. Disaster. Game, set, match, says Christopher. Let's go, says Chuck, mate. Sydney FC is happy about it as well, of course. Both shows happy about it. Well, Sydney FC, half an hour in, 2 goals up. Patrick Wood gets one. Important goal for Patrick Wood. After Sydney FC signed Fabio Gomez this week. And I'll tell you what, it's going to take a mammoth effort for the away team, Western United, to bounce back. Yes, they do have the Brazilian star in Daniel Pena on the bench. But I don't know if that's going to be enough to get them back into this game. Sydney FC have 1 foot in the Australia Cup semi-finals for 2023. Shot stats on the broadcast: 6 for Sydney, just the 1 for Western. Who haven't been able, they haven't really been able to get any momentum. They've gotten forward a couple times, Western, but it's Sydney who have just looked much better today so far. Much, much better. Chuckmate says, remember when Pasquale was meant to be a wonder kid out of Western? Absolutely, yeah. He was especially even when he was at Melbourne Victory, there's a lot of excitement around him, eh? Thoughts on Fabio Gomez, asks CDFC. Hey, it looks like a really, really good signing. Interesting one as well, because he's sort of a different style of striker compared to Lafondra. He's taller. He looks like he's got good pace on him. But the height thing, I think, is going to be a big thing. It adds a new element to the attack. A new element for Sydney FC going forward. Western United have a free kick here in I wouldn't say dangerous, an interesting position. Wales' delivery was good. And Adamson has headed that over for a corner. Sam says the A-League is so hard to predict. It's possible that any of the 12 teams could win it. Some have more chance than others, obviously. Yeah, and look, that's the wonderful thing about the A-League, in my opinion. And look, yes, there are teams who are favourites more so than others, but anyone could surprise. As this corner, well, they're struggling to deal with that Sydney FC. They will finally get it away now. And try and spring away on the counter-attack. Western win another free kick. Take it quickly. Eork Des in the chat as well. Says, hey, up the boys of blue. That's right. Sydney FC looking good so far, eh? Another free kick for Western. Yes, Chuckmeat Zanzaki is playing. Indeed. Riku Danzaki. He's playing on the left-hand side for Western, and there's a good chance for the green and black to push forward. Oh my God, Jake Girdwood Reich. It was him again. Jake Girdwood Reich is having a blinder today. What a game he's having. Oh, what a move. Was that Caceres? It was Caceres. Dude, that footwork was delightful from Anthony Caceres. Well, Sydney FC are really on top at the moment. I mean, Jake Goodwood Reich a moment ago with that challenge. Fantastic. And the little, that was superb from Caceres, that footwork. Love it. Love it. Which midfielder would you call up to replace Irvine for the upcoming international break? Luongo. Luongo's definitely one, I reckon. Luongo's definitely one that could be looked at. I think he was unlucky maybe not to get a look in the recent camp. Definitely an option as Sydney FC come forward again. Delivery. Stayed in somehow. A third goal will certainly seal it here, you'd imagine. Here's Robbie Mack. Great chance. Shooting. Heward Bell will make the save. Some more wonderful comments in the chat. Thanks so much for these questions and comments. Always love having the discussion with you guys here. What's your thoughts on Perth getting Bozanic and Carluccio? Great signings. Good signings. Especially the Bozanic one, man. I think it's a good signing. It looked like that maybe Ollie Bozanic wasn't going to be getting much of a look in this season at Wanderers. So I like it. I think he'll do well at Perth. And, of course, teaming up with a former coach in Alan Stajic, who he played under at Central Coast Mariners. And Carluccio looks like a good signing as well. Frenzied Rabbit a bit earlier says, if I were the Knights, I would honestly hope to be drawing against City in the semi-final. Honestly, I think I'd agree with you too. I would agree, yeah. I think that's a game I think Knights could get the job done there against the Melbourne City team. If they approach that tactically. Get the tactics right for that one, I should say. Frenzy Rabbit as well says, my early bet, and this might sound a bit funky, but wooden spoon to Adelaide. Yeah, it's one that a few people have suggested. I don't know if they'll fall that far to finish bottom. I feel like there's other teams that might struggle a little bit more. But hey, could happen without Craig Goodwin. We'll see. Pasquale. Switcher plays a bit heavy, but Wales has kept it in. What can Western do here? Look at the numbers Sydney have back. Oh, that's a nice pass. Pasquale. Shot. Saved. That was a nice little move there from Western. But it wasn't too dangerous in the end. Chuckmint says wooden spoon for Jets. Nama says MacArthur for the wooden spoon. Jets, MacArthur. I think Perth. I do think Perth might struggle once again. I know Alan Stadrich is there, but I don't know, man. I think they might struggle Perth. Chuckmint says MacArthur needed sacks Stajowski. So yeah, Stajowski, one of those managers who there's not a lot of expected of him, eh? Rookie manager. Came in halfway through last year. Given the full-time gig. Curious to see how Bulls go this year. Sharkmeat says Bozanic was underrated at Central Coast Mariners. Shame he flopped at West Sydney Wanderers. Yeah, I was surprised he didn't get as much game time. Noah says, are you surprised that Ruan Tongic is still at West Sydney Wanderers? Well, I guess it's not too surprising considering that they did lose some defenders. They did lose, of course, Tommy Machella. Dama Traore. So, hey, look, there's still a chance that maybe Ruan Tongic could depart for another club, but I guess just keeping him for a little bit of depth, Ruan Tongic. Ooh. It's a heavy collision in the middle of the park there. Thurgate on Bratton. Sam also mentioned, I wouldn't be surprised if West United got worse this year. Teams with John Aloisi tend to get worse with seasons. Says mentioned City and Raw. It's a fair point. It has happened before. I'm still of the opinion that Western will do all right this year. I think they could push top 6. Got some quality players. Yeah, we'll see. Angus Thurgate sporting the shaved head, the new look at his new club. Not long remaining in this half. 2-0 to Sydney FC. Anthony Caceres, Patrick Wood, the two players on the score sheet for the Sky Blues. Long ball over the top. Redmayne's come a long way for that. He's collided with a player, and that's going to be a foul, which is maybe a bit of a harsh call, considering that I don't know if there was much that Michael Roos could do to stop his run there. Actually, Michael Roos played at this stadium last year for Central Coast Mariners in the Australia Cup, I remember. I think he scored too. Wellington for the spoon? Yeah, I tell you what, that's a fair shout as well. I could see that happening. Yes, I could see that happening. No more Ufuk Talay. Much weaker squad this year. Wellington, unfortunately, a lot of young players there that are promoted from the academy. And look, we'll see. Those young guys could impress in their first year. But yeah, when we're talking about teams who have improved, when they've changed the squad, I'd be concerned for Wellington Phoenix fans, man. I think it's gonna be a really big ask for that squad to finish top 6. Western United have no. They're not looking very cohesive when they move forward. Western. Chuck, mate, I believe you're saying Adamson should play right back over Grant this season. I tell you what, there's a chance that it could happen. He's been fantastic. He's been very, very good so far in the Cup. Keely Adamson. The first I saw of him was in person in the round of 32 match in the Cup against Mariners. I was there and I was like, who's this guy? Keely Adamson. And he was fantastic. Fantastic. Brock's here. Good to see you here, Brock. Is Ufuk in the running for the job at the Mariners? I know as much as you guys. I would love Ufuk Talay at the Mariners. But yeah, we've seen some pretty reputable sources across the socials Ufuk Talay could be heading to the Central Coast. Personally, yeah, I'd love it. I would love it. Nikolai Muller as new Central Coast Mariners coach. I don't know about that. Does he even have a full coaching license? He might. I'm not sure. That would be interesting. Hopefully, I'm sure we'll get some news around the coaching position at Mariners this week. I mean, Mariners are 4 days away from starting their AFC Cup campaign. Ball over the top here for Woodies. Yep, that's offside. We're going to be playing Griddle at halftime, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be playing Griddle live on stream at halftime. So make sure you stick around for that. Yorkdale says, I'd love to see Talay managing Mariners. You'd be contenders once again, in my opinion, if that happened. Brock also says Ufuk would be a great Monty replacement. Yes, I think he would be. A coach who has sort of similar to what Monty's done. Ufuk Talay did a really, really decent job in tricky conditions, especially playing through the pandemic seasons. Getting the best out of a squad that maybe wasn't as impressive as some of the others in the competition. So look, if Mariners were to announce Ufuk Talay tomorrow, I'd be stoked. But yeah, again, I know as much as you guys. So hopefully we get an announcement soon. Yes, Nikolai Muller did join the Central Coast Mariners coaching staff. Brock says, Brisbane Roar looks scary this season. Florin is a great pickup for them. Great pickup indeed, and he was involved in that last goal for them yesterday. But yeah, I mean, to get that 4-2 win against a good Wanderers side, really, really impressive. They're a team to watch this year. Western looking to make a way into the box again. Sydney deal with it. Comes forward again for Western. What can they do this time? Wales. And there's Rodwell to poke it away. Oh, nicely done from Lolly. That was really nice. He just got past. Oh, and he's been wiped out. Joe Lolly has been absolutely wiped out by Angus Thurgate. Sydney FC still looking to get forward. Strong from Imai in defence. That little flick. I don't know what Joe Lolly did there, but that was something really, really good he did a moment ago. Very, very nice indeed. Eight out of 9 on Griddle. Very nice. Very, very nice. Frenzy Rabbit says, Raw's best signings are Kaz and Zach. Totally different at the club. Hey, honestly, it starts off the pitch, and they seem to be implementing a really good energy and atmosphere in the club. So, yeah, man, they've been very transparent as well. They've been really good with their communication with the fans. 2 former A-League players as well, Casper Tafter and Zach Anderson. Michael Roos, Western with a chance. Roos shoots. Maybe the better option would have been to lay it in for Laval there, who was running past him, but another chance for Western goes begging. We're going to be playing Griddle at halftime. Those that don't know, Griddle is an A-League trivia game, player guessing game, which you'll get to watch me either struggle or hopefully succeed live here on stream in just a matter of minutes. As we only have a couple minutes left remaining in this game. We'll have a little bit of injury time, of course, due to the drinks break we had earlier on. Very hot day in Sydney today. Hope you guys are staying nice and cool or hopefully enjoying some decent weather wherever you guys are tuning in from. Coastal Football's the new Centre Coast Mariners manager. Did I say West Ham? Did I actually? That's so funny. West Ham United, Western United. Oh, I'll tell you what, maybe they do sound similar. Like phonetically, coming out of the mouth, they do sound similar. West Ham United, Western United. I can see why they would sound similar. Yeah. If you say it quickly enough, it almost sounds like the other, you know. Gold Coast United on Griddle today? Oh no. Oh no. So it's going to be a late corner here for Western. Only 2 minutes of injury time. Definitely should have been more than that. We've had 2 goals and a drinks break. Anyway, delivery's not bad. It's going to fall for Thurgate. The ball was rolling behind him. EMI sends it long. Terrible. Terrible pass. Sam says glad Marco Tilio's at Celtic now. So I don't know, get him and Marco Tullio mixed up. Yes, no more Tulio matchups, hey. So the Sky Blues are going to take a 2-goal lead into the halftime break. Huge test for Western United and John Aloisi. He needs to get his side back on track here. We've got Daniel Pena, who's on the bench, set to make his Western United debut. It could happen. It could happen here today. Sydney FC has some decent options off the bench as well. So this should be a exciting second half. 2 A-League teams hoping to secure that final spot in the Australia Cup semi-finals 2023. We'll have a free kick here to finish off the half. Oh, no, it is full time. No, it is a free kick. We still play on. We still play on despite injury time expiring. So one final opportunity for Sydney FC to grab a goal. And all the players are looking around for a ball. There is no ball in the vicinity. There we go. Finally, we've got one. Melbourne Knights, Melbourne City, Brisbane Roar, the 3 other teams in the Australia Cup semi-finals. Sydney FC are close to joining them here. It's halftime at Leichhardt Oval in Sydney. Sky Blues, pardon me, lead the green and black 2-0. Nice stuff from Sydney FC. They've been looking good. And they could have had a couple more. Western United just have been second best today, simply. They are clearly not handling the conditions. Ange, 50 games unbeaten indeed. Isn't that great at home? Great statistic for Ange. All right, should we do Griddle? Griddle. Let's do some halftime Griddle, ladies and gentlemen. We love doing our halftime Griddle. Let's fix that up. So Griddle, for those that don't know, I'm sure many of you guys will know, the A-League player trivia guessing game. Always a lot of fun, and we'll see how we go today. We've got some interesting ones here. Interesting clubs indeed as well. We've got, look at that, Western United. Western. MacArthur FC, Wellington Phoenix, and Gold Coast United. Okay. Interesting. We are going to give a go of this Griddle. And I just to avoid any spoilers or anything, I'm going to temporarily close the chat. I will be reading the chat following the conclusion of the Griddle. Let's jump into it. Okay, where should we start? Where should we start? Clean sheets, yellow cards, less than 5 games. Less than 5 games. Gee whiz. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is tricky. This is gonna be a tricky one, dude. Let's start with the goalkeeper clean sheets. That'll be the easy one. Wellington Phoenix. We can go Ollie Sale. Probably Oliver Sale, right? Actually, I'll tell you what. Let's go Glenn Moss. That might help us with our obscurity score. Glenn Moss. I wonder if Adam Federici had more than 5 clean sheets. Surely, right? Hey, there we go. Adam Federici. He was the keeper at MacArthur in their first ever season. Gold Coast United. Oh no, they had Glenn Moss for a while too, didn't they? Oh no, what have I done? Screwed myself here, haven't I? Oh no. Who is another keeper at... Oh no. I'm pretty sure Glenn Moss, he was a keeper at Gold Coast, wasn't he? Oh gosh. I'm blanking on that one. We're going to come back to that. 10 plus yellow cards for Gold Coast United. Let's go Steve Pantelides. That's just a guess. Hey, we got 20. There you go. Okay, good. Very good. 10 plus yellow cards. Let's go Ben Sigmund here. Surely plus 10. Yep, 34. Plus 10 yellow cards for MacArthur FC. I want to go McGing. Maybe Aspro. 10. You'd imagine it would have to be a player who's maybe been there for a couple of seasons now. McGing's been there since day dot. I'm going to go Jake McGing here for 10 plus yellow cards for MacArthur. Oh, no, just 5. Okay. To be fair, he doesn't start every game for the Bulls. It'd be interesting to see what the answers are there. Okay. Oh, my gosh. A goalkeeper that played for Gold Coast, dude. Oh, that's so annoying. By the way, I can't see the chat right now. I've closed it just to avoid any spoilers. I will be reading the chat afterwards. Less than 5 games. There's got to be options there. There's got to be options there for both teams. For all those teams that we can surely grab. Less than 5 games for Gold Coast. Man, like I know a bunch of Gold Coast players, but James Brown. No, see, like I'm thinking of players, but they would have played surely more than 5 games. Oh my gosh, can't believe Glenn Moss has totally been a keeper. Let's go to some of the other ones. Less than 5 games for MacArthur. Nick Suman. Surely Nick Suman hasn't played more than 5 games for MacArthur. Nicholas Suman. Oh my gosh. 6. Don't you hate that when you're just one stat off? Less than 5 games for Wellington Phoenix. I think we had this one the other day. Bozanovsky. Matthew Bozanovsky. Only played 2 games on loan from Melbourne Victory at Wellington Phoenix. Oh, goodness me. Okay, let's go. Oh, goodness me, goalkeeper. Oh, man, I'm going to be kicking myself when I see the answers here. Why is Glenn Moss the only goalkeeper I can think of? Who else do they have? Oh, man, okay, let's go. I'll tell you what. I mean, James Brown is one that's coming to mind here. I don't know. He's definitely played more. Maybe Mitch Cooper, but he was. I remember he was 17-year-old. He was 17 years old and was given the captain's armband. James Brown surely played more games. Shane Smeltz. Pantelides. Jason Kalina. Zach Anderson. We could go Zach Anderson. Traore. I'm gonna go Zach Anderson here, actually. Ugh. Yuck. Goalkeeper, dude, I cannot for the life of me think of another goalkeeper that played for Gold Coast United. Seriously. Wow, dude. Oh man, I'm gonna be kicking myself too. Like like Liam, no, like I don't think Liam Reddy ever played for Gold Coast, right? He didn't. He definitely didn't. So who can we go here? I'm hoping my brain just like pops up with something. Like I feel like Glenn Moss did play for Gold Coast. Oh, God, goalkeeper. I just need any keeper right now that played for Gold Coast. Oh, ugh. Nah, dude, this is a rough one. This might be one of our worst griddle performances ever. It's not. It won't be ready. Oh my goodness me. Redmayne, was Redmayne there maybe for a season? He was at Brisbane. Andrew Redmayne was at Brisbane. Matt Nash. What else could we put in there? Let's go Nash. Let's go Matt Nash. Throwaway guess. Didn't play for them, of course. Dude, what a tough griddle. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Jess Van Stratton. Yep. Should have gotten that. Should have gone that. Jess Van Stratton. He played for the Mariners as well. Glenn Moss. Dude, I am so silly. I threw Glenn Moss in here for the obscurity score. You get extra points for guessing obscure players. I was like, oh, I won't go Ollie Sale. I'll just put Glenn Moss in there. And then I was so silly. I should have gone for this square first. Because there was only 2 keepers that kept more than 5 clean sheets, 5 or more clean sheets. And it's Glenn Moss and Jess Van Stratton. Oh, dude, that was one of my worst griddles ever, man. That was a struggle. Apologize, you guys had to endure that. What are we saying? Give me your guesses. Give me your guesses in the chat, because my goodness, we struggled. What were some of the other ones, man? Noon, Uskok, Shushnya, Mombwa. Mombwa was a good guess. Wow. Oh my gosh. Sam says I went for Van der Brink for Gold Coast 10 yellows and he had 9. Oh. Alpex says I literally gave up that one today purely because of Gold Coast. Dude, it's so tricky. Oh, that's right. Sam. Jess Van Stratton. Oh my goodness me. Good to see you here, Spencer. Fortnite Trolls here as well. I've been very, very well, man. Thanks for asking. Dude, the Brizzy boys are tearing it up, aren't they? Absolutely love seeing how Raw are going at the moment. Honestly, as like a neutral, it seems to be a really good vibe around there. And I'm happy for Brisbane fans, man. Oh my gosh, we struggled. What were some of the less than 5 games for MacArthur? Why couldn't I think of anyone else there? Oh gosh, Walter Scott, yeah. Those are some niche players there. A lot of options there for Wellington, of course. Less than 5 games for Gold Coast. Stephen Lustica. Oh man, that escapes my brain. Adam Griffiths. I tell you what, it would have been a struggle to get any of those players. Lustica is one we could have gotten though. But that left my brain that he even played for the club. Wow, we struggled, didn't we? Alberto Riera for Knicks and 10 yellows. Very nice. Yokdes says, I guessed Vukovic for Phoenix clean sheets and it somehow works. Yes, he did play for Phoenix many years ago now. Sam had an obscure score, 461. That's very, very good. Went Kleberson for Knicks and less than 5 games. Jefferson for Gold Coast, less than 5 games. Very nice, Sam. Wow. Very good. Good to see Matt here as well. How you going, Matt? Says, g'day, guys. Hope Sydney have a better season. Well, they've looked very, very good today, hey. Very, very good so far today, Sydney FC. Second half isn't too far away. There's our griddle for today. Bit of a struggle. So, some big results in the Australia Cup this week, man. We almost saw Metro Stars defeat Melbourne City, but City do go through to the semi-finals. Melbourne Knights with a late win over Victorian rivals Heidelberg United. And then it was Brisbane Roar who picked up that big 4-2 win against West Sydney Wanderers to secure their place in the semi-finals for the second consecutive year in the Australia Cup. It was pretty hard indeed today, CFC. CFC says, I love your videos, mate. You've done so much for the A-League. Keep up the great content. Thanks, Mart. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. That's it's very kind of you to say. And glad you're enjoying the content. And hey, it's all about the community with you guys, right? I mean, that's the whole idea behind the content. That like I'm just a fan, like you guys wanting to have that fan discussion, that sort of fan driven content, and that's yeah, it's what we're trying to do here. Hey Bailey, how's it going, man? Good to see you here. Hope you guys are doing well and enjoying your weekends so far. Second half between Sydney FC and Western United just around the corner. It's been so hot today, man. I mean, the whole weekend's been warm. The whole weekend's been warm. Hope you guys are enjoying the weather wherever you're tuning in from. Dude, I still can't believe there's people at Leichhardt Oval sitting in in the direct sunlight. Like, surely you would just be sweltering. Unless there's a breeze coming through at Leichhardt Oval. Tell you what, actually, they're showing in the broadcast now a shot of the stand on the near side, and it's pretty well full. Let's have a look at the benches for the teams, man. Who have we got on the bench today? We know we got Daniel Pena there. Max Burgess is on the bench today for Sydney FC as well. Bailey asks, have Mariners announced a head coach? Not yet. Hopefully soon. There's been a lot of speculation about who will be appointed for the Mariners, but not no announcement yet. Hopefully it does happen soon, because of course Mariners start their AFC Cup campaign this week. Sam asks, how likely is it that Watchalong is a starting striker for Raw, assuming Raw don't sign a striker? Of course, it could still happen, but it's looking more and more likely, isn't it? And hey, good on him. He's grabbed a couple goals now in the Australia Cup. He's scored in his last 2 games now, in the round of 16 and the quarterfinal. So look, it might be Watchalong who is that striker, and they really only have him as a striker. Yeah. It's going to be a stinking hot summer, says York. There's hopefully it doesn't affect as on the broadcast there. The Danny McBreen almost got splashed with water from the sprinklers. Teams are back on the pitch. We're having a look at these benches. Some young names on the bench, especially for Sydney FC. Kachalski's there. He scored the late equaliser against Mariners in the round of 32. Got some experience in the likes of Ryan Grant, Max Burgess. Western United have a decent bench as well. Lustica, Pena, Botic is there. Youngster Grimaldi as well. All right, here we go. So this is a huge, huge test here for Western. This is they're in a really, really precarious position, and they need to work their way back into this game. Tricky conditions. Very, very warm day. And we are underway for the second half. Matt says, are you spewing? Monty left. He will do a great job for Hibs, though. Yes, we wish Monty all the best. Hey, look, it's a massive loss. Yes, it's a massive loss. Absolutely. But it was almost, it wasn't very surprising. It was almost expected that he would have gathered this sort of attention from overseas clubs, considering how well he did with the Mariners. So look, it's going to be interesting for the Mariners to see how they go this season without Montgomery, who was obviously a key part of the Mariners' success last year and the last couple of years. So yeah, the appointment of a new head coach is going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. Good chance here for Sydney FC as Adamson heads over the post there. Up there from right back, Keely Adamson, who's looking really, really good for Sydney FC so far. We were discussing a bit earlier whether perhaps Adamson could get the nod ahead of Grant this season in the A-Leagues, which is which could happen. Could happen. Yes, Ando, you can watch on 10 Play on the app or on the website. Yeah, which is great. All the Australia Cup matches are live and free to watch for all in Australia, at least. Early goal in the second half would be ideal for Western United, just to get them back on track. But considering the conditions, you'd imagine a third goal for Sydney would just about seal it. Sky Blues really controlled most of that first half as well. We'll be hoping to do the same here. Girdwood Reich had a fantastic first half in the centre of defence as well. He was wonderful. It's looking like... And actually both defenders, Rodwell even just now with a good defensive intervention. You know, a bit of concern, at least from my end, on Sydney FC's back line. They lost Donachie and Wilkinson and didn't really replace those guys. I mean, they have signed Jordan Courtney-Perkins a few days ago, which was good. But I was looking a little bit shaky for Sydney at the back. But so far, I mean, Rodwell, look at that challenge, winning the ball. Literally, as we're talking about the defenders, Rodwell shows up with a fantastic sliding tackle. Perhaps this is the new look Sydney FC defense, man, and it's could be Girdwood Reich and Rodwell to be those two starting defenders come opening match day at home to Melbourne Victory on October 21. Not long until the A-League season gets underway. Almost a month now. Almost a month. If you are enjoying the stream, feel free to drop a like. Or if you're feeling so kind, a super chat. Which go a long way to helping me continue to make content here on the channel, which I greatly appreciate. I appreciate you guys just being here, though, you know? Australian football, it's a growing fan base. It's a growing community. Tactically very, very good today, Sydney FC. They almost seem like, the Sky Blues, they almost seem like they have an extra player on the park the way that they're playing. Just much faster. Stronger in the challenges as well. I think the way back for Western United is just to start, first of all, having some more possession of the ball. Get a little bit more movement, especially through the middle of the park. Pasquale and Thurgate need to offer, I think, a little bit more to get the ball driving forward. Cheers, Matt. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate that. Sky Blues looking to get forward again. Adamson under pressure and is fouled by Danzaki. Tell you what, Ricky Danzaki is really, really struggling to get himself into this game. He hasn't really had anything going forward. And he's committed the foul there, and it's given Sydney FC an opportunity to find this third goal. Silly challenge too. I mean, Adamson with a nice turn, and he just tripped him up. All right, free kick. Mac will deliver. Good delivery too. That's headed wide and high. We will be staying live following the conclusion of today's game because, of course, the semi-final draw is happening following this game. Very excited for that, man. We'll see what semi-final matchups we have. York says, last season we had the ability to beat anyone, but lacked any consistency. Perhaps we could challenge for the A-League this season. Yeah, we'll see, man. There's some high hopes. Oh, it could be a chance here for Garuccio. who almost got him behind there. Adamson just manages to poke it away and is now under pressure and can't keep it in. Can Western United conjure an attack here? A goal for the green and black, and all of a sudden the match changes. Laval was surely offside there. We have play on. No, late flag. Very, very late flag is up. So, a 2-1 scoreline, and all of a sudden the game feels a lot different. Western United substitutions are warming up as we speak. There is Daniel Pena on the broadcast. The Brazilian superstar. Back in Australia. Tore it up at Newcastle just a couple of years ago. Was fantastic. Led the assist charts in the A-League men's. I know a lot of people are picking Daniel Pena in their fantasy teams, which I totally understand. He's someone who could rack up a lot of points. And A-League fantasy wasn't around when he was at the Jets a couple of years ago. So I'm sure Daniel Pena will be a high point scorer in fantasy this year. Danzaki can't control that ball. Really, really struggling today, unfortunately, Ricky Danzaki. Joe Lolly just out-muscles him. Sydney FC happy to knock the ball around the back. Take their time with it. Don't have to do anything too crazy. Western United, they defeated Sydney FC last year in the A-League's competition, and then the second matchup between the two teams ended 3-3. Could we be set for a dramatic late finish in this one? Aussie Stadium Builder. Aussie, how you going, man? Good to see you. Says they haven't even attempted to remove the rugby lines. They are quite apparent, aren't they? Oscar says they seriously need relegation in Europe to make things interesting. Hey, we'd love relegation in the A-League. It'd be great, wouldn't it? National Second Division is coming into existence next year, which is very exciting. If all goes according to plan, which it appears to be. Western United, quick corner. Garuccio's delivery is very poor. Headed away. He might just send it back in. Garuccio on the left. Little slip. Western stay in possession. Thurgate, heavy touch. Oh, nice from Bratton. That little lift inside for Wood. Sydney FC. Western United just really... Oh, it's a massive challenge from Risdon. Referee allows player to go on. Risdon has crunched into a challenge there. And he's actually come off the... he's come off worse for wear in that challenge there, Josh Risdon. Goodness me, he did not hold back there at all. And we've got a couple players down here. James Donachie's down. Josh Risdon is in a lot of pain right now. He went flying into that challenge and he's hurt himself. Oh my gosh. I tell you what, he collided with his own teammate James Donachie and a Sydney FC player. And Risdon is currently being treated, not a player that they want to lose just a month out from the A-League season, that's for sure. Okay. Sam coming in with a hot take. Promotion relegation is honestly the worst thing that the A-League can do. I can't see it working. What I love about the A-Leagues is how even it is, but that would be gone. Sam says Australia is a massive country and there's not enough finances in the game to make it plausible. I think I totally understand your points there, Sam. I think what I will say What I will say is that I think promotion and relegation is a long, long way from happening. I think we're many, many years from happening. I think it could even be potentially a couple of decades away from getting promotion and relegation. We need the establishment of a second division. We need that second division to be successful, to work out. The finances. That's a great point. It's quite apparent that the finances is something that football Australian football really seems to struggle with. It seems to be a concern, at least in the A leagues. Quite clearly, obviously not as much money in the competition compared to some of the other big leagues in Australia, the NRL and the AFL specifically. So yeah, look, I'm still keen for it. I think it'd be exciting. It would add a new element to the Australian domestic competitions. But yes, it has to be done in the right way, that's for sure. Ollie says they say that they will add promotion relegation and attempt to be a similar success to the J League in Japan. Yes, there was a report about that a few months ago that came out that they were going to mirror what they did there. And hey, I liked it. I did a video on it a few months ago. They're showing us that replay, that Risdon incident. Tell you what, James Donachie might have even collected his teammate there, Josh Risdon. Risdon's back to his feet, which is good to see. And looks like we're going to get some changes here for Western United as well. And one of them, most notably, is indeed going to be Daniel Pena, who is entering the field to make his Western United debut. Joining him off the bench will be Steven Lustica, Noah Botic. Botic will be coming on to replace Laval. Ollie Laval's looked lively, hasn't quite got himself into this game, hasn't had many chances. Couple changes here for Western indeed. Thurgate's coming off for Lustica. So a change in midfield there. And it's Lockie Wales, interestingly enough, who comes off for Pena. So, hey, let's keep an eye on that. That might mean that Daniel Pena potentially will play off the right-hand side where Wales was stationed. Or will there be a little reshuffle there? Let's keep an eye on it. Sam, also in the chat, says Australia also doesn't have the population to do it, promotion relegation. One of the sparsest countries in the world. It is certainly a very different setup compared to what we see over in Europe, obviously. Yorkdale says, I agree with the evenness of the competition. I would like expansion, though, just because it does get a little stale playing the same 11 teams over and over again. Very excited for expansion, and that certainly will happen. It's just about a guarantee that we will get expansion, and the expectation is that we will get two new teams next year. And news on that could be coming out basically any day now. I think there was some talk recently that the Auckland expansion is basically happening. There are buyers interested. Owners, I should say. Or buyers of the license. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of interested parties wanting to get on board when it comes to Canberra. So can these substitutes spring Western United back into this game? It looks like Daniel Pena has drifted inside. Let's keep an eye on him. He's wearing number 11 for Western, the same number that he wore at Newcastle Jets a few years ago. He's only the second player in Western United history to wear the number 11 after Connor Payne did it for the first few years for the club. Connor Payne heading overseas this year. Great for him. Player who's been in the A-League system for the best part of a decade now, I think. Victory, Mariners, Western. An hour of football played. Sydney FC still maintain their 2-goal lead and have been very, very good today. And maybe a sneaky chance to go all the way in this tournament. Defensively, I've been really impressed with them. Any updates on Canberra? It's going to be quiet there, asks Aussie. From what I've seen, I haven't seen any updates on the Canberra bid. But I'd expect that would still happen. I mean, the fact that there already is a women's team there, I think that definitely sort of helps their chances. You know? Sam also earlier on said definitely agree with expansion, as where I live doesn't have an A-League team right now. Will soon have one though. And that's the thing too, you know, especially expanding to new markets like Canberra, like Auckland. I think more Queensland teams is the way to go. It gets the potential for new fans involved. So, the attacking options are on the pitch here for Western. It's a dangerous front four when you look at the names there. Pena, Botic, Roos, and Danzaki. That's basically, if you like, your full strength front four for Western. Can they find the goals today? So Daniel Pena looks like he will play off that right-hand side. But probably will have license to drift infield. Yes, Aussie, yes. We'll be staying live for the draw afterwards. Absolutely. Absolutely. Following this on the broadcast, we will have the semi-final draw. Of course, Melbourne Knights, Melbourne City, Brisbane Roar, the other three teams in the semi-finals who have already booked their place in the Final Four. Sydney FC looks set to join them. Good to have teams from a few different states in the semi-finals. Another team, another NPL team from Victoria as well. Victorian NPL teams usually do pretty well in the Cup, don't they? And it's Melbourne Knights who have had a great campaign so far. They'll be confident they could make it through the final, especially after seeing what Sydney United did, making it through the final. There's a chance here. Nope, Redmayne comes out to clear. Seeing what Sydney United did last year, an NPL club making it all the way to the final. I think Melbourne Knights will be hopeful they could do the same. An NPL team defying the odds. Here is Pena. His first touch in a Western shirt. Feeds Risdon. Good to see Risdon is okay after he was down following that challenge earlier. Pena. Pass into the feet of Roos. This is Botic. Pena was making a run, but he couldn't get on the end of it. The delivery here towards Pena. Oh, dude. He went for the acrobatic effort. He threw himself at that ball, Daniel Pena. And that would have been a remarkable goal if he could have turned that goal down. Oh my gosh, dude! And Danzaki was there too. They had some options there, Western. That was a good opportunity, and it was sparked from Daniel Pena, who's on the pitch. And if you want someone to unlock a defense, that's the guy you want on the ball. Sam says, I'd love another Queensland team, but they don't have much interest in football. Still a logical pick for next expansion, though. Yeah, I think so. I think especially when you look at the population size, it makes a lot of sense. A couple of changes preparing to come on for Sydney as they come forward. Wood. Can't get past Imai. It's been a good duel today between those two guys. Botic. Oh, wayward pass from Noah Botic. He's giving it straight to Mac, and Sydney FC could be in here. It's a terrible giveaway. Lolly is going to deliver, and Imai clears it out for a corner. What was Noah Botic doing there with that back pass? So much space as well in the middle of the park for Sydney. So, third goal will seal it here. Third goal will seal it from now on for Sydney. Lolly's delivery. Oh, it's a good header and it's off the post and wide. I think it was Rodwell. Great chance for Sydney. Nice play. Here's Lolly. Huge chance. Rodwell puts it in and makes it 3-0. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's very safe to say that Sydney FC will be an Australia Cup semi-finalist for 2023. Oh my goodness me. There we go. That's right. That's right, Ollie. Yorkers here. Hey, Dom. Good to see you. Good timing as well. Dom's in the chat. Because Sydney FC have grabbed their third today. Nice play. Caceres, Adamson. Beautiful. Who was that? Was that Wood? Patrick Wood. Just a little pass inside. The vision as well to see Lolly, who was in space. And I'll tell you what, it's good play from Sydney. Don't take anything away from that. But that defending from Western was again. I mean, you can't let Rodwell score from there. That is ridiculous. Look at this defending. Rodwell has just got there first. And there's good defenders. I mean, Risdon, Garuccio, these guys are experienced A-League defenders. And they have just let Sydney waltz in there and grab a third goal. And Sydney FC have just been able to make a couple of changes there as well. Max Burgess is on for the first time this Australia Cup campaign. Good to see him on the pitch. That was amazing, says Ollie. It was a great move, wasn't it? Great move from Sydney. Exposing West United's poor defence. So good to see all you guys here in the chat. Sam, Ollie, Aussie, York, Des. Dom's here. Dom's been doing some great stuff on his YouTube channel as well. Make sure you check out Dom's channel. Great vlog. Actually, Dom was up at the Gold Coast Knights Western United game, funnily enough, a matter of weeks ago. So make sure you check out Dom's channel for Oz football content as well. Frenzy Rabbit says, that goal seals it, in my opinion. I'm right with you. I'm right with you. Luke Bratton's just kicked the ball away and it could easily be a booking. So Corey Holman has come from the pitch. He's had a good game as well in midfield for Sydney alongside Luke Bratton. Kaczynski is the other player that came for Sydney. He's come on to replace Robert Mack. Okay. So Daniel Pena stands over this free kick opportunity for Western. Danzaki's there as well to offer a right-footed option. Dude, this Andrew Redmayne's like goalkeeper kit, that's pretty much just the same like the third kit, Sydney's third kit from last season, eh? Got like that orange color on it. Pena. Oh, Pena's gone direct. That was unexpected. Daniel Pena just went low and hard from that free kick. Everyone expected them to whip it into a teammate, but Pena just went direct for goal. Tell you what, it wasn't a bad effort, but Redmayne was able to get down to it. No worries, Dom. Western have been poor, says Christopher. They have indeed. This hasn't been an ideal performance from Western. And I'll tell you what, this Australia Cup campaign is giving us some really interesting insight in terms of how these teams are going in preparations for the upcoming A-League's season. Western United, a team who I thought might do all right this year. Patrick Wood goes from long range. That's wide. I thought they might do all right this year, Western. I was really impressed with some of their signings, but not quite stringing it together at the moment. Might be one of these teams that takes a little bit to get going. As we're going to take a drinks break here with 20 minutes to go. Really comprehensive performance from Sydney FC so far. Youngster Grimaldi is going to come on for Western United here. And, okay, interesting here. John Aloisi is having what appears to be a bit of a heated conversation with the referee. Not sure what that could be about. There hasn't been much to... there hasn't really been many controversial calls this game, from what I've seen at least. But John Aloisi is very upset. Frenzy Rabbit says, lore accurate, Lockie drinks with the place. That's right. This is our drinks break too, right? Hot weather in Australia at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you stay hydrated. Dom says, I only just woke up from a nap. I regrettably stayed up and watched the Man United game last night. Yes, Man United going down 3-1 to Brighton last night. Tough one for United fans. And how about that stat, right? I actually only saw it today. Like, it was the United's first home loss since the opening weekend of last year, where they lost to Brighton as well. Which, yeah, there you go. Interesting. So, back and away here in the second half after that drinks break. It'll take a miracle from here for Western United to qualify for the semi-finals. Grimaldi has come on to replace Seb Pasquale, who has had maybe one of his poorer games in a Western United shirt. He was at fault for that second goal. No, the first goal, sorry. No, what was the second goal, wasn't it? For Sydney FC. Lustica. Pena. Western. Looking for a road forward. Great challenge there. Will be a foul, though. Looked like it might have been a clean challenge by King. Oh, he was holding him, though, wasn't he? Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Joel King had his hands all over Pena there. Maybe he wanted his jersey. He wanted his shirt. He wanted to make sure he secured his shirt after the game. Pena. Don't be surprised if he shoots from here 30 metres out. That one's a delivery towards a teammate. Risdon was ghosting in, but Redmayne claims. Sydney FC, not a team a lot of people have talked about heading into this A-League season. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of attention on, the likes of Brisbane Roar and Melbourne City, Adelaide as well, Mariners. Whether these teams will succeed or struggle. Sydney FC, chugging along really nicely. Might do all right this year. They did, of course, make it to the semi-finals last year. Raw were very good last night indeed, weren't they, Dom? They were fantastic. Fantastic. Were you at the game, Dom? Were you at the Brisbane Wanderers game? Entertaining watch, that's for sure. 4-2. But that was the result for Raw, wasn't it? To get that win was really, really important. It showed if they can beat a good Wanderers side, they can really beat anyone in the competition. It'll be interesting to see who they get in the semi-finals draw, Brisbane. But, geez, they're looking good. Pena's corner here. Wood tries to get that cleared. It's going to come back here for Pena. Throw in. 15 minutes to go. Another change here from the subs bench. Ryan Grant's going to come on here. Ryan Grant on the bench to allow Keely Adamson some minutes in the starting lineup. And he's been fantastic once again today, Adamson. Real headache at right back for Coach Steve Corica in the FC. Because you've got a very, very good young player in Keely Adamson who's been playing very well. Mitch Glasson is going to come onto the pitch as well to replace Patrick Wood. Yeah, that's right, Dom. Just couldn't get anything going forward. Raw were clinical. They absolutely were. Very, very good from Raw. And which is interesting, right? I mean, they scored 4 goals last night. I can't recall the last time Brisbane Roar scored 4 goals in a match. They've struggled to score goals in recent years. Very, very good. Very, very good yesterday. Baron Gare coming off the bench as well, having a bit of an impact. Very excited to see how Brisbane Roar go this A-League season. I think they'll be a dangerous team. Another heavy pass in the middle of the pitch from Western. Not only has Sydney FC been very, very good today, but Western United, I think, have been quite poor. Did I say Sydney United? I think I merged. I would have merged the teams' names. It was Sydney United, Western United. Western FC. Botic. Defensively, though, man. Sky Blues just haven't given Western anything today. Nothing. Hey, Mr. Freshman's here. Good to see you here, mate. Hope you're having a good weekend so far. Botic, again, it's going to be picked off. Noah Botic, I mean, he's only recently arrived back in Australia after some Ollie Roos duty over in Turkmenistan, and a couple of wayward passes from the striker already. Sky Blues are in control here, man. Total control. There's a rumour that circulated that Cahill's son might be signing for Raw, Shay Cahill, and I saw that. Hey, I mean, we saw the photos of course, Tim Cahill and his son at the Brisbane Roar Wanderers game yesterday, which was cool to see. Yeah, we'll see, man. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? That would be very interesting. Burgess. Nice pass into the path of Lolly. Joe Lolly's been very good today for Sydney. Drifting infield. Still going with the ball. Passes for Burgess. Great run, though, from Lolly. Burgess, well done. Western win it back. Give it away immediately, though. Scrappy in the middle of the pitch. Burgess under pressure. There's Mack. Western can break it. They need to make the right decisions here moving forward. MI has continued his run. Roos can't find him. Well done, Michael Roos, getting around his opponent. Just not... There doesn't seem to be any sort of plan moving forward for Western United. It's sort of just all been the occasional counter-attack. But it hasn't really been anything threatening at all. There hasn't really that half chance for Pena a moment ago was the only real chance that Western have had all game, really. Frenzied Rabbit says also a post by Zach Anderson says the Raw must have signed another 2 players or so. So more to be announced. Interesting. Hopefully one of them is a striker. Hey. Do you think Tim Cahill is the greatest Aussie player of all time? Second behind Sam Kerr for me. Yeah, I think Sam Kerr is definitely the greatest Australian player of all time, and Tim Cahill comes in second. Max Bird, look at that mullet on Max Burgess, man, rocking the mullet. 10 minutes to go in this game and then injury time. And then we will be staying live because we have the draw for the semi-finals straight after this match. So keep your broadcasts on. Hang it around here in the live stream. We are going to be reacting live to the Australia Cup draw. Ryan Grant delivering. Good ball. Oh! Oh my God, I thought that went in. It's side netting from Mitchell Glasson. Young striker, so close to finding the back of the net there. Great chance. Mitch Glasson played for the Joeys in their Asian Cup campaign earlier this year. Couple of the Australian Joeys players in the Sydney FC squad. Zach De Jesus, Nathan Amanatides, another one as well. They've got some good young options in this Sydney FC side, don't they? Corner for Western. A goal now is a must if they have any hope of crawling their way back into this one. Garuccio to deliver in front of the Cove. It's missed everyone, but it will fall to a Western player. It's Risdon chipping inside. Sydney would love to hold on to a clean sheet here. Grimaldi. Sydney FC can break away. That's all too easy for Sydney FC as well. Weren't really threatened there, were they? Too easy. What do you think of Tottenham's win against Sheffield United last night? Fantastic for Spurs and fantastic for Ange. Hey, Ange's 50 consecutive home games without defeat for Ange Postecoglou, which is just remarkable. Just remarkable. Aussie says, this is about the same quality that Western had against Gold Coast. And there you go. Maybe it's just the quality of opposition that's really, making it difficult for Western today. Ollie says, I wish FIFA EAFC had the Australia Cup in career mode. That would be great. That would be very nice, hey? But I guess, it'd be... Hopefully one day we have, NPL competitions or potentially the National Second Division in Australia added to the EAFC. That'd be fun. That would be a lot of fun, though, having the Australia Cup. That would be good. Tom says, absolutely, Aussie just caught Western on the break twice. No real teeth in attack, which is concerning for Western. They need to... especially with the talk that potentially Privich isn't returning for Western this year. Botic for Grimaldi. Looking to feed it through. Cut off there by Rodwell. I tell you what, this centre-back partnership of Girdwood, Reich and Rodwell has been fantastic today. And I think Sky Blues fans would be very happy if those two centre-backs were starting round one against Melbourne Victory in a month's time. Another change here for Sydney. Jack Rodwell's coming off. Fantastic game today, Jack Rodwell. Very, very good at the back. And scored the third one here for Sydney FC. Aaron Gerd, young centre-back, coming on to replace him. Big season for Jack Rodwell coming up too, especially with Alex Wilkinson departing the club. Rodwell's going to be that leader at the back for Sydney. So Pena, that's a uncharacteristically poor delivery from Daniel Pena. Has the ball back though. That's a good pass to find Grimaldi, who can't return the favour. Semi-final draw happening after the conclusion of this match. Sydney FC will be a semi-finalist once again. Quarterfinals last year, semi-finals the year before. They'll be hoping to go one more further and make it to the final itself. Melbourne City, Melbourne Knights, and Brisbane Roar, the three other teams who have already booked their place in the Final Four of the Australia Cup this year. Come on, Brisbane semi-final, says Dom. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it's a great turnout in Brisbane as well at Perry Park, wasn't it? No, I didn't watch the Milan derby last night. Here's Sydney looking to maybe get a fourth. Zanzaki, well done, tracking back, helping out in defense. Garuccio, again, look, no link in midfield. And it seems to be where Western have really struggled today, in midfield. They started with Thurgate and Pasquale. Both of those guys have now come off the pitch. It's Lustig and Grimaldi who were there. But it's Sydney FC who have just controlled the midfield today. Far too much time and space in the middle of the park for Sydney. Western are really trying to apply some pressure now to create some sort of comeback here, but just can't get it going. And look at this, Donachie and Grant, completely unnecessary here. And why would James Donachie do that? Your team is chasing, your team needs to get the play going quickly. And James Donachie, for some reason, has just picked up the ball and did not want to give it to Grant there. You'd expect it'd be the other way around. Not sure what James Donachie was thinking there. You want to get play on as quickly as possible. Ryan Grant wanted to take the throw in quickly. Maybe didn't want to be caught on the counter-attack, Donachie. Caceres, he's still on the pitch. He's been fantastic today for Sydney. Really, really good. Scored that first goal. Showed some really good footwork today as well. Yes, of course. EAFC Ultimate Edition releasing this week. And then available in the regular edition the week after. Very exciting. Ball over the top for Sydney. Heward Bell claims it. Frenzy Rabbit in the chat says, I reckon Brisbane can beat anyone at home. Would otherwise like Knights or City, I think. Sydney away would be the only fixture that would be stacked against us. Should be stronger than West United at the moment, though. Yep. Yeah, I think Brisbane will provide a bit more of a challenge to Sydney. But yeah, I think Sydney at home, I think would be too strong against any of these teams, even a Melbourne City. That's a foul from Risdon. And a yellow card. I don't know if that challenge was worthy of a yellow. Don't forget, we're going to be staying live following the conclusion of this game because we have the semi-final draw. Okay, maybe indeed a yellow card. That was a bit dangerous there from Josh Risdon in the back of Kaczarski. $3-0. Sydney FC. Looking good heading into this A-League season. Western United. Well, John Aloisi has a little bit of work to do. A couple of wins against some NPL sides, and they did look all right. But, goodness me, they haven't shown up here against Sydney FC in an A-League opposition. Where does John Aloisi go from here? Because it's on paper, it's a decent team. But, I don't know, tactically something's going wrong, clearly, because they've been second best in just about every department today, Western United. They've been slower. They've been wayward with their passing. Sydney FC have looked very, very good, and that's some beautiful play. And look at the space here now for Mitch Glasson to stride forward. In fact, it is Joel King. A little bit heavy with the touch. Burgess in possession. Oh, beautiful flick, but it's missed King. That would have been very, very nice if Sydney could have scored off that little move there. Sydney, look at this pressure here from Burgess on Grimaldi. Grimaldi just has to clear it up for a throw. 4 minutes of added time. Again, probably should have had a lot more than that. Risdon was down for a long time. We had a long drinks break. We had a goal. Maybe I'm just used to the long injury time in the Premier League and from what we saw in the World Cup. Yeah, I think in those tournaments we would have had many more minutes, but just 4 to go here. Surely a foul there by Grant, and it is. Semi-final draw just around the corner here. Ollie says, I'd love to see Brisbane playing in Asian football again. How do they decide the Oz Cup final? That does get a draw as well, and basically the draw is to decide who will host it. I vividly remember when the final a couple of years ago in 2021 was Mariners and Melbourne Victory, and Mariners fans were crying out for a home cup final. It would have been amazing. A packed, sold out Central Coast Stadium would have been great. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Melbourne Victory got the host. So yeah, that is how it works out. Although I don't know if that happened last year, because it was hosted. It was at Combank. I don't know how that worked out last year. I mean, there was 2 Sydney teams in Sydney United and Macarthur SC last year in the final, of course. Couple minutes to go here. Sydney FC, well, they're looking good. They're looking very, very good. Very impressive today. Western United have a lot of work to do, man. A lot of work to do. No worries, Sam. Thanks for tuning in, man. Burgess wine for Lolly. Could there be a late 4th here for Sydney? Even the substitutes that have come on for Sydney FC have looked very, very good. Slotted into the team nicely. I mean, it's pretty handy when you've got the likes of Max Burgess and Ryan Grant to come on off the bench. Makes it tricky for the opponents. 2 very lively players. Oh, this is a very nice play. Caceres trying to flick it over the top. Botic feeding Risdon. Risdon over the top. Good, wins the header. Risdon for Garuccio, who hits. Very poor effort in the end. And a match which was set to be an even encounter, an exciting one, has ended all one way to one team, the home team. Sydney FC claim victory and progress through to the semi-finals. Fantastic from the Sky Blues. Really, really impressive today. Well done to them. West United, a little bit concerning. They really struggled to show any sort of fight or comeback. There's a little bit of desperation towards the end there, but nothing that Sydney FC couldn't handle. Impressive. Impressive from the Sky Blues. And I think we should be wary in terms of how Sydney FC will go this season in the A-League. Some little bit of concern around them after losing some key personnel with the likes of Lafondra, Wilkinson, Rattray departing. But it looks good. So, semi-final draw is around the corner, so we're going to stay alive for that. We've got 4 teams. We've got Melbourne Knights, Melbourne City. There are 2 teams from Victoria. Our New South Wales participant is Sydney FC. And the lone participant from Queensland is the Brisbane Roar. So 3 A-League teams. There you go, the 3 A-League teams remaining. Sydney FC, Brisbane Roar, and Melbourne City. Melbourne Knights, the one and only NPL team remaining in the competition. I'll tell you what, let's set up here for our little our draw. So we're going to write it up as it happens. Sydney FC, very impressive in this 3-0 win today. Question for you guys. Where do you think Sydney FC will finish this year? I think that's a good question. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about Sydney FC. Where do you think Sydney FC will finish? I'm actually genuinely curious to see what you guys think. I think they will finish top 6. I think they will. There's enough quality in that squad. I mean, the front line, I think, is where it's really threatening for Sydney. I think they will finish top 6. Will they play any semi-finals at home venues? Asks Kauza. Yes, I assume you're asking like as in their actual home venues. I assume that's what you're asking, Kauza. So as in like, will Sydney FC play at Allianz Stadium? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's all up to the availability and everything like that. I doubt they would for a semi-final. I think, if Sydney FC got a home semi, I'd expect it to be at Leichhardt again. We'll see though. They might go for Allianz. Predictions for Sydney FC. Top 5 for Sydney. It says Aussie. Frenzy says 4th or 5th. Ollie says 4th. York says 2nd behind Mariners, just ahead of City. Interesting. Dom says Sydney are interesting. I think there'll be two after the Adelaide drop off. To be honest, Aussie says my top 5 is City, Western Sydney, Mariners, Sydney, and Raw. 6th is up for grabs for a few teams. I like that top 5 that you got there, Aussie. I like that. Sorry, Dom. Yeah, you're saying you reckon Sydney will be top 4 after Adelaide drop off? Yeah, I mean, if Adelaide are indeed that team to fall away, then Sydney might just be looking to jump in there and replace them. Hey. Australia. So, semi-final draw, not far away from happening. Let's set this up. Semi-finals. So we're going to have, of course, 2 semi-finals, obviously. And the teams that we have here are Melbourne City, Melbourne Knights. Brisbane Roar defeated West Sydney Wanderers yesterday. And joining them today is Sydney FC. So, those are the teams we have involved. Teams. All right, so what do we want to see from the semi-finals? I tell you what, I think my prediction, obviously it's kind of weird predicting a draw because anything can happen. I would like to see a City Knights Victorian derby in the semi-final. And then Raw Sydney. I tell you what, I think it would be fun to see Brisbane Raw host again. Pack out Perry Park if they do play there again. And host Sydney FC, that'd be cool. Yes, Cows are definitely doing A-League Fantasy. I'm still working on my team. I will reveal that in time, of course. But yes, definitely doing A-League Fantasy, which is now available. They released it. It's free to play as of a few days ago. Dom's back in Brisbane v Sydney. Ollie coming in with a prediction. City, Central Coast, Wanderers, Sydney, Raw, and Adelaide. Says as well that the 6th spot is up for grabs, in my opinion. That's the thing. I mean, there's like a lot of teams from sort of that bottom 6 that could jump up. Really, really could jump up. Frenzy says no particular order. Top 6 is City, Victory, Wanderers, Sydney, Raw, and Mariners. Yeah, I think Victory are a serious chance of jumping into the top 6. I think they've built a pretty good squad. I think they've built a pretty good-looking squad, Victory, to mount a comeback. Four teams. Who will lift the Australia Cup at the end? Yeah, dream semi-final for me is Melbourne Knights, Melbourne City, and then Brisbane Roar hosting Sydney FC. That's what I would like. York Des says wants Sydney v Melbourne City and then Knights v Brisbane. I don't know. I think I can't see Melbourne Knights defeating any of these A-League sides. So I think a Melbourne derby in the semi-finals would be cool to see, especially Melbourne Knights Stadium, which is a nice little stadium. Stats are on the broadcast here. Possession was actually pretty even. Sydney with 13 shots, 5 on target. Western today had just 6 shots, only the 1 on target. Can't even... Oh, the 1 on target was that Daniel Pena free kick from like 30 metres out, right? Didn't even challenge that much. Tackles 1, definitely favouring Sydney FC is there as well. There you go. So, yes, Ollie, the draw is on 10 play. Yes, the same channel as the game. Yes, I believe so. Kalza asks, "Have you seen the new City leaked kit yet?" Yes, I have. It's quite interesting. That's for sure. That is for sure. Oh, dude, they're doing the draw. Yeah, dude, they're doing the draw live at the stadium. That's cool. Franco Parisi, the Apia Leichhardt head coach, is at the stadium doing the draw. There you go. Apia Leichhardt were knocked out of the cup by Sydney FC in the quarterfinals, of course. So, if you were watching the Australia Cup game on 10 play, you can stay on that same channel for the cup draw. Although I believe it should still be happening on the YouTube channel and the Facebook page as well. All right. Of course, the draw principles where matches involve only member federation clubs are the first club drawn hosts. That, of course, we already know, and not relevant here because there's only one member federation club remaining. And as we know, here we go. The draw is getting underway. If Melbourne Knights are drawn, they will host. Well, for sure they will host, regardless of who it is. Here we go. First matchup here. Melbourne Knights. Who will Melbourne Knights be hosting? Will we get a Melbourne derby? Will we get a Melbourne derby? Here comes the thing. Brisbane Roar. Okay. It's Brisbane Roar. So the Roar. Ross Aloisi's side travelling down to Victoria. Interesting. And that means it's Sydney FC, Melbourne City, who will be hosting. This is a big one. Who will have that home advantage? It's Melbourne City. Interesting. So both semi-finals will be in Melbourne. Interesting. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our semi-finals. Very intriguing. Okay. So Melbourne Knights will have a big test taking on a red-hot Brisbane Roar side. Or an orange-hot, I should say. And then Melbourne City. Sydney FC. We've seen some great matchups between them over the years. Of course, those two teams met in the A-League semi-finals last year. Wow. Wow, man. What do we make of that? Ollie says, I'll take that. Aussie's not happy about it. Dom's not happy about it. Ollie says, at least it isn't in Sydney. That's right. What do you make of it? What do you think? What do you think we'll see for our final? What's our final predictions? I reckon Brisbane Roar will get the job done over Melbourne Knights. They've been playing well. I think they will win. Melbourne City, Sydney FC. I tell you what, it's a tricky one to call. Honestly, I think I probably would say Melbourne City. I think Sydney FC are a massive chance. But Melbourne City, I think, will be too strong at home. I'll tell you what, if Sydney FC were hosting, I think I would have backed them. I think I would have backed them for sure. But there you go. There's our semi-finals. Melbourne Knights to host Brisbane Roar. Melbourne City will host Sydney FC. Both Cup semi-finals will be in Victoria. There you go. And those semi-finals will be taking place next week. Of course, dates, times, stadiums, everything will be confirmed in the coming days. So keep an eye out for that. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. I've got a bunch of content coming up over the next few weeks as we prepare for the A-League's season. Is this the first game you've tipped Raw? Yes. For this Cup campaign, yes. Christopher says City have to be faves. I'm back in a Brisbane City final. And then from there, I mean, probably City is a safe guess. But hey, that'd be cool to see Brisbane win too. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I greatly appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. My name's Lockie. This is Coastal Football. Catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.